Hello everybody out there, my name is Max and I'm really excited to be sharing an introduction to meditation video with you all today. So a little bit about me, I started practicing meditation in 2018 and it's been a huge benefit in my own life, and so I'm inspired to share that with others because I think if I found some of these tools a lot earlier in life, it would have been just great for me, and so I'd like to share that with you. So before we get started on the actual techniques that I practice and find helpful with meditation, I think it's important to reflect on a certain number of things. Now, the reason these are important is because it helps you get your mind into the right perspective that can help you actually practice meditation, because it's more than just a technique, it's more of a perspective on life when you take it to the fullest extent. Now, what do I mean here? So before you even start practicing some of the things that I'm going to share with you today, I'd like for you to just close your eyes for a moment and just try and relax and listen to nothing but the sound of the words and some of the techniques that I'll be sharing. So first of all, it's important to reflect on the fact that the past and the future are really just ideas in our mind. And what do I mean by that? Yes, they're real in one sense, but they're also not real in the sense that the present moment is going to be the only place that we can actually bring positive change into our lives. So the way I think about this is I give myself permission to just be here in the present moment when I'm practicing meditation, because usually for me, I know it'll feel almost irresponsible to not be thinking of the future or not be thinking of the past or preparing for what I'm going to do. I'm like, well, I have to think about that. What if I'm not like preparing? And you kind of have to silence that part of your mind, and you have to reflect and just really feel into the fact that if I'm going to find true, genuine peace and happiness, it's going to be done being here in the present moment, not thinking about the future. So I'd like to invite you to just come back here, come back to the present moment, even if it requires you coming back 1,000,000+ times, that's totally fine. So the next thing I'd like for you to reflect on is that looking for happiness is totally fine. It's good, it's great. And that should be one of the main cornerstones of our life, is looking for true, genuine peace, happiness, joy, whatever you want to call those positive feelings in the structure of our emotional life. So I'd like for you to reflect on the fact that it's okay to look for happiness, to want happiness, and more than that, to want happiness and to look for happiness inside of ourselves. And just taking a moment to understand that if we're going to find true happiness, true peace, all those positive things on the inside, that it really can't come from all those things on the outside, right? Now, they can help, like having our family and spending time with our family and maybe our pets and maybe getting that promotion in a job or going on that trip. Those are all great. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we're going to make this experience of inner peace and joy more stable, then it's got to come from within. So I think that's important to reflect on, is that we're going to start looking for happiness on the inside and not through things on the outside. And the next thing that I'd like for you to reflect on is, in this practice of meditation, what we're going to be starting out with is we're going to be starting out with attention towards the breath. So before we even get started on that, I'd like to explain the purpose for this. So the purpose for this is that when we can train the mind to focus on one thing directly for longer and longer periods of time, then that gives us the ability to direct our mind where we want it to go, right? So that sounds kind of funny at first, because we think, well, aren't I always like thinking what I want to do? Well, yes and no. So we have to start training our mind to do the things that are good for us, right? Because it's easy to go eat that ice cream, or go like procrastinate and watch a bunch of YouTube videos when you should be doing your homework or something like that. But when we can start to train our mind to focus on one thing, we can start to think the thoughts we want to think and not think the thoughts we don't want to think. So we can focus more on positive outcomes and leave behind a lot of those negative outcomes. Now, that's the main thing that I have noticed in being able to direct my mind to just the breath for long periods of time, is developing focus that I can take with me throughout the whole rest of my life. Now, the other reason why developing that focus on just the breath is really important is because it allows you to think about things in a way that's a lot deeper than you might normally. So what do I mean by this? So we can reflect on things like the fact that our whole life is just constantly changing, right? Like the atoms that make up our body and the atoms that make up everything else we know in this universe are just constantly fluctuating, and they're totally changing, and there's nothing that we can have permanent, right? There's nothing permanent. Now that seems like, oh yeah, nothing's permanent on the surface level, right? We can think about that. But when you really start to think about that with a directed, focused mind, things start to change a little bit. So like when it really hits home that, oh my goodness, like all of this is constantly changing, there is nothing permanent to hold on to, it really starts to change your perspective on life and what things you should be focusing your energy on and what things you should not be focusing your energy on. And when you can take this really vast perspective on life, it changes things completely. And that's done through focusing and directing your mind for longer and longer periods of time, like I'm going to be showing you during meditation. Now, the other reason why meditation is so important is because it gives us a sense of satisfaction that we can grow ourselves. So again, I already touched on this, but I think it's really important that when we can start to train the mind to not necessarily go outwards to seek happiness and comfort and satisfaction, but inwards, it gives us a much more stable presence in life. And so I think this has been enough for this video on covering just the perspectives that I'd like to share in terms of meditation. And I'll leave you with just a little bit of a technique right now. So again, I'd like for you to close your eyes here. And I'd like for you to take 5 deep breaths in through your nose and out of your mouth. Now, while you're breathing, I want you to just focus on the air coming in your nostrils and out of your mouth and just seeing those physical sensations of the air. So this is a great way to start. You want to just feel the air coming into your nose and out of your mouth, and you can take those deeper breaths for now. But as we go on, I'll share some more videos, and what I'd like for the outcome to be eventually is to breathe in a natural way where you don't need to breathe very deeply or consciously, but you can just feel the touch of the breath coming in and going out. And it's a little bit easier at first to start with deeper, more conscious breathing where you're actually like, because that helps you focus a little bit more. But later down the road, you can sort of just breathe in a natural way where you're just observing it and feeling the air coming in and out of just the nose. So that's all I'd like to share with you today. I am going to release a whole bunch of other videos sharing some more tips, reflection points, and meditation techniques down the road. But today I'd like to start off with just this, and I'm really excited to be sharing this journey with you. Again, my name is Max, and I've just had such great benefit with meditation practice in my life. Specifically, I went to the Vipassana 10-day courses in 2018, and it's just been a huge benefit in my own life. And I'd just love to share that with others because it was shared with me for free. And it's just, it's really become a cornerstone in my life, and I hope it can be in other people's lives too as a source of peace and happiness. So wishing everybody well out there. Take care.